Let them do whatever they want. And some fathers think that's cool. Oh, my boy, he's old enough to handle it. And the boy says, I need help, Daddy. I don't know the right values in life. I don't have standards to judge by. I'm looking to you to give me some guidelines, and you telling me, oh, you old enough. You're a man now. The children are looking to the father to give them some kind of standards to judge their own decisions by. There are children that are wayward, and their parents are responsible for the waywardness. The parents are saying, I don't know what I did. I gave him everything he wanted. That's your problem, Father. You don't give them everything they want. You don't give them what they need. And sometimes what they need is not what you gave. Sometimes they need you, not your gifts. To be a father is probably one of the most difficult jobs on the planet that we live on, because it's so different from what we've been taught. There are young men who have children all over the place, and it's all okay as long as I can support them. It's okay. No, because you call support money. However, those you give money to end up in prison because it's not money they need. They need correction. They need somebody to set some standards. They need someone to give them some values, some morals, some behavioral ethics. They need someone to teach them mechanisms to choose in a life that is so complex and confused. They need someone to say, hey, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. Some fathers don't love their kids because they tell them something but don't do it. I've seen fathers go to the children and say, don't smoke like me. How dumb is that? It's such a foolish thing for a father to try that on a child. From 4 years old, a kid got you figured out, sir. Believe it or not. You say, don't you drink alcohol, and you're doing your sipping right in front of them. So a child begins to identify manhood with cigarettes. And they begin to identify manhood with alcohol. So in their mind, they're thinking to be a man, you gotta smoke. To be a man, you gotta drink. Or so, when they want to be a man at 13, they got to get a cigarette. Why? Daddy is a man and he smokes, and I'm ready to be a man. So I got to get a cigarette, or I got to get something to drink. Why? Because you showed them the wrong role model of manhood. I'm gonna say this here. I remember when I was younger and I was drinking a lot, and I remember I had a glass. I was married at the time, two kids at the time, and one of my kids ran and grabbed my drink and drunk it. And I laughed. At that time, I laughed about it. You know, so that's what I'm telling y'all. This has me all through it. You know, so I'm dealing with myself as well. So we can't do that, you know, and say, you know, we got to raise these kids right, teach them, correct them, and let them know, hey, that's not okay. You know, I laughed about it, and that was the wrong thing to do. But we'll learn. All right. To love your children means you have to set standards. No wonder why God said to Abraham, I love you and I won't keep anything from you, because you are a man who will teach your children and your household. Everyone who works for you, the word of God. That's what makes a real father. And I say to you young sons, don't ever measure fatherhood by your daddy if he's not a real daddy in God. As a matter of fact, a man doesn't know fatherhood unless he knows the Father. There was a man who walked up to Jesus once. He was a spoiled brat. He was a young rich ruler. He believed his father gave him too much too soon, and he couldn't handle the responsibility. And he said to Jesus, good master, I know that you are certain from God. And before he could finish his sentence, Jesus turned around and said, shut up. You don't know what God is. For there's only one good, and that is the Father who's in heaven. What did Jesus mean? He was saying what you call good is not good. To know what good is, you got to have God. If you take the letter O out of good, you got God. You don't know what God is, so you don't know what good is. So how can a father know anything about fatherhood if he doesn't know the Father? That's what Jesus was saying. You can't recognize the attributes of fatherhood and goodness if you don't have God. Say, he's the best daddy, and I'm proud of him. He doesn't have all the money in the world, but he's the best daddy.